It was a sunny Saturday afternoon when young Sam, no older than 6, stood by the window watching the garbage truck rumble down his street. Every week, he waited eagerly for this moment, the loud noise, the mechanical arm lifting the bins, and the workers tossing bags into the truck. But among all the workers, there was one woman Sam had always noticed. Her name was Maria, and she had a kind smile, even as she worked tirelessly under the sun, picking up trash for the entire neighborhood. The other kids would often make fun of her, mocking her uniform and the fact that she handled dirty bags every day. But Sam wasn't like the other kids. He saw beyond the dirt and sweat. To him, Maria was just another hard-working adult, someone who made sure his street stayed clean. And for some reason, Sam thought Maria seemed lonely. While the other workers chatted, Maria always kept to herself. One day, after watching her lift a particularly heavy bag into the truck, Sam decided to act. He dashed outside, his small sneakers slapping against the pavement. He approached Maria, who was tossing the last bag into the truck. Sam looked up at her with his big brown eyes, and with the innocence only a child could possess, he asked, "Maria, would you like to come to my birthday party tomorrow?" Maria paused, her hands still on the truck. She looked at him, blinking in surprise. No one had ever invited her to anything before. She smiled softly, crouching down to Sam's level. "That's sweet of you, Sam. But don't you think your friends would prefer someone else to come?" Sam shook his head with determination. "I want you to come. You work really hard, and I think you should be there." Touched by the boy's gesture, Maria promised she would try to come. Sam grinned widely and ran back inside, eager to get ready for his special day, not realizing that his small act of kindness was about to change everything. Sam couldn't contain his excitement as he told his mother about inviting Maria to his birthday party. His mom, Sarah, smiled at her son's kindness but hesitated for a moment. "That's very sweet of you, honey," she said, kneeling to his level. "But are you sure she'll feel comfortable? She might not be used to coming to a kid's party." Sam nodded eagerly. "She said she'll try to come. I really hope she does." Meanwhile, word of Sam's invitation quickly spread among the parents and kids in the neighborhood. Some of the parents exchanged skeptical glances when they heard about it. "Why would she come to a birthday party?" one mother whispered to another. "She's a garbage collector, not a family friend." A few of the kids, especially those who often teased Maria from a distance, found the idea strange. "Ew, why would you invite her?" one of the older boys sneered. "She smells like trash." Sam's best friend, Olivia, frowned at the comment. "That's not nice. She works hard, and Sam wants her there. So what if she picks up garbage?" Despite the murmurs of doubt, Sam refused to let them bother him. He was determined that Maria deserved to be at his party, just like everyone else. The night before his birthday, Sam lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. "I hope she comes," he whispered to himself. Meanwhile, across town, Maria sat in her small apartment, staring at the birthday invitation Sam had drawn for her. A warm feeling spread in her chest. No one had ever invited her to something like this before. Would she really fit in? Would the other parents be okay with it? She sighed, looking at the old dress hanging in her closet. If she was going to go, she wanted to look presentable. But deep down, she had no idea that her simple decision to accept Sam's invitation would lead to something she never expected. The morning of Sam's birthday was filled with excitement. Balloons decorated the backyard, a long table was set with colorful plates, and a big cake sat in the center. Children ran around, laughing, while parents chatted among themselves. Sam, dressed in his favorite superhero t-shirt, kept glancing at the gate. He hoped Maria would come. His heart pounded with anticipation. As more guests arrived, a few of the parents whispered among themselves, "Did you hear? Sam invited the garbage lady," one mother said, shaking her head. "I doubt she'll actually show up," another added with a chuckle. Just then, the sound of a truck pulling up caught everyone's attention. Heads turned as Maria stepped out of her garbage truck. She wasn't in her usual uniform. Instead, she wore a simple yet elegant blue dress. Her dark hair was neatly pulled back, and for the first time, she wasn't wearing gloves or holding a trash bin. For a moment, there was silence. Then, whispers spread, "She actually came," one of the parents murmured. A few kids looked surprised. Some even snickered, nudging each other, but none of that mattered to Sam. His face lit up, and he ran toward Maria. "You came," he shouted with joy. Maria smiled warmly. "Of course, Sam. I wouldn't miss it." Sam grabbed her hand and led her inside, ignoring the stares. Olivia followed, smiling at Maria. "You look really nice today," she said kindly. "Thank you, sweetheart," Maria replied, feeling a little less nervous. Despite the murmurs, Maria held her head high. What she didn't know was that her presence at the party was about to change everything in ways no one could have predicted. As Maria stepped into the backyard, she felt the weight of every stare. Parents exchanged uneasy glances, and a few kids whispered to each other, "Why is she here?" One boy mumbled to his friend, "She picks up trash." "That's not someone you invite to a party," another child giggled. Maria heard them, but she remained composed. She wasn't new to judgment. People often looked at her like she was invisible or unimportant. But today was different. Today, she was a guest. Sam, completely oblivious to the tension, proudly led Maria to the table where the kids were playing. "Come sit with us," he said, pulling out a chair. Maria hesitated. "Are you sure, Sam? I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable." "Nonsense," Olivia interjected. "You're our guest." Reluctantly, Maria sat down. Some parents kept their distance, while others forced polite smiles. One of the mothers, Mrs. Turner, leaned over to another woman and whispered, "I don't understand why Olivia allowed this. A garbage worker? At a birthday party? She could have just sent a thank you card," the other replied. Maria overheard. Her heart sank, but she masked it with a small smile. Years of dealing with people's judgment had made her resilient. Just then, Sam clapped his hands together. "Okay, it's time for cake." All the kids cheered, momentarily forgetting their whispers. As the cake was brought out, Sam turned to Maria. "Will you help me cut the cake?" Maria's eyes widened. "Me? Yes. You're my special guest." Gasps echoed among the parents. Mrs. Turner almost dropped her drink. But before anyone could protest, Maria took the knife with Sam and, together, they made the first slice. The moment was simple, yet powerful. And what happened next would shake everyone at the party to their core. As Maria and Sam cut the cake together, a hush fell over the crowd. The parents, still uneasy, exchanged awkward glances, while the children looked at Maria with a mix of curiosity and admiration. Sam handed Maria the first slice. "You get the first piece," he said with a big smile. Maria hesitated. She had never been the center of attention like this before, especially in a room full of people who clearly didn't expect her to be here. But Sam's sincerity warmed her heart. She accepted the cake with a grateful smile. "Thank you, Sam," she said softly. As Maria took a bite, something incredible happened. One by one, the children began coming over to her. "Can you help me cut my slice, too?" one little girl asked. "I like your uniform. It's like a superhero outfit," another child chimed in. Slowly, the tension in the air began to shift. The kids didn't see Maria as just a garbage worker anymore, they saw her as someone special, someone kind. The parents, however, still looked hesitant. Mrs. Turner whispered again, "This is so inappropriate. What lesson is Olivia teaching these kids?" Olivia, overhearing, finally decided to speak up. "She's teaching them kindness, Susan," Olivia said firmly. "She's teaching them that people matter, no matter what job they do." Mrs. Turner huffed, crossing her arms. "I just think there's a time and place." Before she could finish, a sleek black car pulled up in front of the house. The crowd turned to see who had arrived. The door opened, and out stepped a man in a suit. He scanned the backyard, his gaze landing on Maria. The moment their eyes met, Maria's expression changed completely. "Maria," the man called out, his voice filled with disbelief. Gasps filled the backyard. Who was this man? And why was Maria suddenly speechless? Something unbelievable was about to unfold. The backyard fell into complete silence as everyone turned to look at the well-dressed man standing by the gate. His sharp suit and polished shoes made him look like someone important, someone who didn't usually belong at a child's birthday party. Maria's face went pale. She took a hesitant step forward. "Carlos," she whispered. The man's expression softened. "Maria, it really is you." Sam, confused, looked up at Maria. "Who is he?" Maria swallowed hard, her hands trembling slightly. "He's my brother." A collective gasp rippled through the guests. "Your brother?" Olivia asked, shocked. "Maria, you never mentioned you had family here." Carlos let out a heavy sigh and stepped closer. "Because we haven't seen each other in years," he admitted. "Maria, I've been looking for you." Maria blinked, as if trying to process everything. "Why now?" she asked, her voice laced with emotion. "You disappeared, Carlos. You left me alone." The children, sensing the tension, huddled closer to their parents. Sam, however, held Maria's hand. "Are you okay?" he whispered. Carlos ran a hand through his hair. "Looking guilty that I made mistakes, Maria. I left home to build a better future, but I lost sight of what really mattered. I tried to find you, but by the time I came back, you were gone." Maria shook her head. "I had no choice, Carlos. I had to survive. I took whatever job I could find." Carlos took a deep breath. "I know. And I've regretted it every single day." The tension in the air was thick. The parents, who had silently judged Maria for being a sanitation worker, suddenly saw her in a new light. She wasn't just a garbage woman, she was a sister, a survivor, someone with a story they had never bothered to ask about. Then Carlos reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. He extended it toward Maria. "I know I can't make up for the past, but please, just open this." Maria hesitated. Her hands shook as she took the envelope. Slowly she tore it open and pulled out a neatly folded document. Her eyes scanned the page, then widened in complete shock. She looked up at Carlos, her mouth slightly open. This isn't real," she whispered. "What is it?" Olivia asked, stepping forward. Maria took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Then, with a shaky voice, she said the words that would leave everyone speechless. "It's a deed to a house. My house." The backyard erupted into murmurs of shock and disbelief. Carlos looked at Maria, his eyes filled with hope. "It's yours, Maria. You don't have to struggle anymore." Maria clutched the document to her chest, her eyes welling up with tears. After all these years, something unbelievable had finally happened. Maria stood frozen, her eyes locked onto the deed in her hands. The words blurred as tears welled up in her eyes. She couldn't believe it. After years of struggling, working long hours to provide for Sam, she was suddenly being offered a home. A real home. The guests at the party murmured among themselves, exchanging glances of shock and admiration. Just moments ago, many of them had judged Maria for being a sanitation worker, but now they saw her differently. She wasn't just a woman in an orange vest picking up trash, she was a fighter, a mother, a sister with a painful past. Carlos took a hesitant step forward. "Maria, I know this is overwhelming," he said softly. "But I want you to know, you don't have to do everything alone anymore." Maria looked up, her expression unreadable. "Why now, Carlos? Why after all these years?" Carlos sighed. "Because I finally found you. And because I owe you this. You raised yourself when I should have been there for you. I let you down, and I can't change the past, but I can do this." Sam tugged at Maria's hand. "Mom, does this mean we get a new house?" His big, innocent eyes searched hers for an answer. Maria swallowed hard. She had spent years teaching herself to be independent, never relying on anyone but herself. The idea of accepting help, even from family, was difficult. "I don't know, sweetheart," she murmured. "It's a big decision." Carlos reached out and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Maria, this isn't charity. It's family. It's me making things right." A lump formed in Maria's throat. She wanted to believe him, she wanted to trust that this wasn't just another disappointment waiting to happen. But she had learned the hard way that nothing in life came easy. The guests watched in silence, sensing the weight of the moment. Olivia stepped forward, giving Maria a reassuring smile. "Maria, you deserve happiness. You deserve a home." Maria took a deep breath, her fingers tightening around the deed. The thought of a real home, of never having to struggle for rent again, was almost too much to process. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she looked up at Carlos. "If I say yes, what's the catch?" Carlos shook his head. "No catch. Just a brother trying to do the right thing." Tears slipped down Maria's cheeks as she stared at him, torn between fear and hope. Would she finally allow herself to accept the kindness she had been denied for so long? Maria's hands trembled as she clutched the deed. The weight of the moment pressed down on her chest, making it hard to breathe. Could she really accept this? After years of struggling on her own, the idea of someone helping her, especially her estranged brother, felt foreign. Carlos watched her, his eyes filled with something she hadn't seen in years, genuine regret. "Maria," he said gently, "this isn't a handout. It's a fresh start." The partygoers remained silent, sensing the magnitude of the moment. Olivia placed a supportive hand on Maria's back. "Sometimes, blessings come when we least expect them," she whispered. Maria exhaled shakily. "I've spent my whole life fighting to survive. I've been told no more times than I can count. Every time I thought something good was going to happen, it got ripped away." She looked up at Carlos, her voice raw with emotion. "How do I know this isn't another disappointment?" Carlos took a deep breath. "You don't. But I'm here, and I'm not walking away this time." Sam pulled on Maria's sleeve, his voice small but determined. "Mom, please. I want a home. A real home." Maria's heart clenched. She had spent years protecting her son from disappointment, from broken promises. But now, here was an opportunity, one she never thought she'd have. Tears welled up in her eyes as she knelt in front of Sam. "Do you really want this, baby?" Sam nodded enthusiastically. "More than anything." Maria swallowed hard, then turned to Carlos. "If I say yes, I need to know that you won't disappear again. I can't put my son through that." Carlos reached for her hand, squeezing it firmly. "I swear, Maria. I'm here for good." A heavy silence hung in the air as Maria looked at the deed one last time. Then, slowly, she exhaled and nodded. "Okay," she whispered. "We'll take the house." The room erupted into applause. Olivia hugged Maria tightly, while Sam jumped up and down with excitement. Carlos smiled, his eyes glistening. "Welcome home, little sister." For the first time in a long time, Maria felt something unfamiliar: hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something new. The following morning, Maria stood in front of the small, cozy house Carlos had given her. The sun bathed the neighborhood in golden light, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh-cut grass. Sam clutched her hand tightly, his eyes wide with excitement. "Is this really ours, Mom?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. Maria swallowed the lump in her throat and nodded. "Yes, baby. This is home now." Carlos stood beside them, jingling a set of keys in his hand. "Come on, let's go inside." As they stepped through the front door, Maria felt a rush of emotions. The house was fully furnished, warm, inviting, and nothing like the cold, empty apartments they had lived in before. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the neatly arranged living room. A bouquet of fresh flowers sat on the kitchen table, tears pricked Maria's eyes. "Carlos, you did all this?" He nodded. "I wanted it to feel like home the moment you walked in." Sam darted through the house, his laughter echoing down the hall. "Mom! I have my own room." Maria chuckled, wiping away a tear. "I never thought we'd have this." Carlos placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You deserve it, Maria. You always have." As Maria took in the sight of her son twirling in the middle of his very own room, a deep warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in years, she felt safe. And for the first time in forever, she believed that maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. The next few days were filled with happiness Maria had never imagined possible. Each morning, she woke up in her own bed, in her own house, with Sam curled up peacefully in his room. She no longer had to wake up before dawn to rush out to work without breakfast. Instead, she made pancakes while Sam chattered away about his school day. Carlos visited often, bringing groceries, little gifts for Sam, and updates on Maria's new job. One evening, as they sat on the back porch watching Sam play with his new soccer ball, Maria turned to Carlos with a smile. "I don't know how to thank you for all of this." Carlos chuckled. "You already have." Maria tilted her head. "How?" He gestured toward Sam, who was laughing without a care in the world. "By being the incredible mother you are. By showing kindness when the world gave you nothing. By raising a boy who changed lives just by inviting someone to a party." Maria felt a lump in her throat. She had spent so long struggling, never expecting kindness in return. Now, she was surrounded by it. "You didn't just change my life, Carlos," she said, voice thick with emotion. "You gave us hope." He smiled. "Hope is a powerful thing, Maria. And sometimes, it only takes one small act of kindness to change everything." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Maria took a deep breath. For the first time in years, she wasn't just surviving, she was living. And it all started with one little boy's invitation. If this story touched your heart, remember, kindness can change lives in ways we never expect. One small act can create a ripple effect of goodness. Would you open your heart the way Sam did? Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that compassion and generosity still exist in the world, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of love, hope, and human connection.